Hello everyone. In this video, we're going to be sending this 2.8-ton rocket to the surface of the Mun and back. This is my first attempt at a small mass rocket mission to any of the planets in the Kerbal solar system, so even if it's not as good as Bradley Weissman says, I hope you still enjoy it. Without further ado, getting on to the mission itself. The first stage consists of 3 Juno engines, which will perform a vertical takeoff, followed by a pitch over to about 20 degrees. This will carry the craft to about 10 kilometers and to a speed of about 50 meters, or no, not 50, 500 meters a second. Once that first stage is out of air, because we're so high up in the atmosphere, I just discard it, of course, with a decoupler and use a spark engine to get us into a good trajectory for the final stage to take over and get us the rest of the way into orbit. Once the rocket had attained a high enough altitude that drag wasn't a significant factor, and also of course once the previous stage was out of fuel, I discarded it and revealed the final stage, which is just a simple ion engine. This stage consisted of just of course an ion engine, 2 of the circular batteries that you can see there clipped together, 4 smaller batteries, 2 solar panels, and a reaction wheel and xenon gas tank. Once that stage put us into orbit, I had to recharge the batteries, of course, and I was ready to immediately go to the Mun, because it's quite a simple transfer. You just have to wait until you have the right alignment. You can do it very easily with maneuver nodes. I actually ran out of battery power because I didn't want to use too many batteries and make it like super heavy, so I thought this was okay because I can just flip around. And of course this isn't the most efficient burn possible, but because the ion engine is so efficient, it really didn't matter, and any mass savings would be pretty minimal. So once I got that charge back up, I just had to do a few maneuvers to correct my orbit and trajectory, and was off to the Mun. At this point, the mission is pretty simple, honestly. Because it's the Mun, it's not small enough for there to be any tricks, really, with, like, mass savings or anything like that, so it's just a simple Mun mission pretty much, except for the fact that the thrust to weight ratio is so low, and also that I had to, of course, keep watch my batteries. You might be wondering, well, what if I used just no batteries at all, or just one small battery and a bunch of solar panels? I thought about that, but it just doesn't work out, I don't think, with the mass of the Mun and like the amount of delta V you have to expend into descent. So this was mostly a normal descent, except the first time around I didn't have quite enough time to slow down before hitting the ground, and hit the ground at like 20 meters a second, so very close to perfect, and Jeb even survived. And that was a very easy problem to rectify. I just had to kind of like tilt the craft up a bit so that it took me longer to reach the ground. And then also after that, I kept trying to get like a stupid camera angle. It's because camera tools is kind of fun to use, but like the camera kept clipping through the ground, and it was just really awful, and I spent way too much time trying to do that. So that was really the only main issue I had with the actual Mun itself. Of course, after I got the camera good, I just proceeded like normal, like you'd expect. Which, of course, no mission would be complete without planting the flag in like the most awkward way possible. You know, picking up that thing and trying to figure out what it is, and then spending way too long typing some nonsense. Once I was done with the whole flag shenanigans, I just simply charged back up the batteries and was ready to go at any time, because of course I have batteries, so I don't need to depend on the position of the sun to get charged back. Sadly, there wasn't really any room to use Jebediah's EVA pack. That's just because, like I said, the Mun is in an awkward place in terms of mass, because it's like big enough that you can't land and go back in orbit like you can in Minmus with the EVA pack. If you're doing an Apollo style mission where you leave something in orbit and then you rendezvous with that, you can use the EVA pack there, but that just wasn't really worth it in this case. Anyway though, once I got into orbit around the Mun, I was pretty much immediately ready to go back to Kerbin. The only thing I decided to do that would be difficult from this point on, since the batteries provide a great heat shield, surprisingly enough, was I decided to land back at the KSC as close as I could. I made a whole video about this if you want to go check that out, but basically I can explain it in like 2 seconds. All you do is you just quick save at whatever time your burn is to like set your periapsis when you're dipping into the atmosphere. Just any point where you can control your periapsis easily. And basically, you go in, if you undershoot the KSC, the next time, once you reload your quick save, the next time you just go a bit higher than you did. If you then overshoot, you just go a bit lower, and you just kind of have to keep track of like where you were descending to each time, but eventually you'll get it like I did here. And that's a neat way that you can get back to the KSC every time. Again, I made a whole video about it if you want to watch it, but that pretty much brings this mission to an end. It's just Jeb flying back. So if you like this video, please consider subscribing to my channel or liking the video. It's always very encouraging to see people do that, and it makes me just have more fun making these videos. But either way, we'll see you next time.